Eat.com. Essentials, life-enhancing ingredients in the palm of your hand. EatEssentialsNow.com.
All County Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to How to Stay Healthy, where we interview doctors each week across the vast medical landscape of cardiology, neurology, orthopedics, sports medicine, and primary care. Join us here for your prescription to better health. Hello, South Florida and beyond, and welcome to the How to Stay Healthy show on this Friday edition of the broadcast. We're going to be talking a little bit about general surgery tonight and bariatric surgery as well with Dr. Werner Andrade. He has areas of interest in minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery, robotic surgery as well, laparoendoscopic single-site surgery, complex hernia repair, and gastrointestinal interventional endoscopy. So we have a lot to talk about with the doctor this evening, and we're going to touch on all those topics in the next 30 minutes. Dr. Andrade, how are you doing today?
Hello. How you doing? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for coming back on the How to Stay Healthy show. We'd like to have you on as much as possible. So, again, thanks for taking the time. I think this is like your third or fourth time on the program, so we're really happy to have you back on.
Thank you. Very much appreciated.
Well, let's get right into it. As I said, you have a vast amount of areas of interest in general and bariatric surgery, and I know you're always offering more. The question I always like to start with you is a little bit about body mass index. In the past, you've told us the definition and a little bit about what BMI stands for, and also why BMI is important in determining if someone can actually take the next step towards bariatric surgery. So tell us a little bit about BMI and exactly that, why it's important in the bariatric surgery process.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. So, as you know, obesity is a serious problem here in the United States. In order to talk in the same language, the definition of obesity is based on the body mass index, the BMI. The BMI is the relation between the height and the weight, and you can calculate this in any computer or in any cell phone. A normal person has a BMI between 19 and 25. But when you have a BMI more than 35, when you have a BMI more than 25, you're considered that you have overweight. When your BMI is more than 30, you're considered to be obese. But when your BMI is more than 35 and you have diseases associated with obesity, that's when you are considered to be morbidly obese. A morbidly obese person is a person that is a patient that has reached such a weight that puts at risk their life and their health.
And what are some of those diseases that are associated with the BMI when it goes that high? Did you say the high that high is 35, and then and you're morbidly obese?
Exactly. When you have a BMI more than 35, with diseases like high cholesterol, hypertension, high blood pressure in this case, diabetes, coronary artery disease, obstructive sleep apnea, osteoarthritis due to all the overweight. If you have all those diseases and more, you are considered morbidly obese.
I see. And what happens at that point? Can you, if your doctor diagnoses you morbidly obese, are you able to right then and there have bariatric surgery, or is there a process where you have to prepare for the surgery under doctor's supervision, or actually like a team, like a dietitian, etc.? How does that work?
Exactly. That's a very good question. For persons with a BMI less than 35, the primary care physician can try diet and exercise. But once you reach the level of morbidly obese, only 1 in every 100 persons can return to a healthy weight with diet and exercise. Only 1% can return to a normal weight with diet and exercise. That's the reason why, for patients with morbid obesity, we recommend weight loss surgery. But in order to do weight loss surgery, you need not only to have a BMI more than 35 with diseases, but if your BMI is more than 40, you qualify for the surgery. You don't need to prove that you have any diseases, because just by the number that is so high, you qualify for weight loss surgery. Of course, before I operate my patients, I have an evaluation. I have my patients evaluated by a cardiologist, a pulmonary doctor, a nutritionist, a psychologist, and endocrinologist. Why? Because the goal of this surgery is to make it as safe as possible.
And that's important. That's quite. I didn't realize the team was that big. So, you really take the time to, put the person in position for success as well.
Exactly. And not only that, the patient needs to be on a supervised diet for a few months. And another qualification is that the patient should have an adequate risk for surgery. And I do not operate any patient who has psychological problems that are not under control, or patients with addictions. Because at the very end, the goal is to recover the health. And makes no sense that I operate a patient to recover the health and is doing drugs.
Now, also, it's actually common for someone to lose a good amount of weight before these bariatric surgeries. In the case, like, some people can lose up to maybe 25, 50 pounds prior to the surgery, and you and your team work with them to get to that goal, whatever that goal may be. And tell us a little bit why that's important to, maybe it doesn't make sense to someone who hasn't had or been in this situation, but to lose surgery before a bariatric surgery. They may ask, why should I have to lose surgery beforehand if I'm having a weight loss surgery? Tell us a little bit about that thinking of the process.
I love your questions today. They're very, very good questions.
Thank you.
The patients that are going to have bariatric surgery, I always put them on a very special diet. I need for the patient to lose at least few pounds before we do the surgery. And I'm going to tell you what are the reasons. Number 1, makes the surgery safer. Number 2 is a little bit selfish, but makes the surgery easier for the surgeon. And number 3, I put the patients 2 weeks before the surgery on a liver reduction diet. Just by doing this special diet, the liver reduces by 10%. So the operative field is enhances and is easier to do the surgery. So it's mainly for the benefit of the patient.
And we're here with Dr. Werner Andrade. You can see his website profile with Tenant Florida Physician Services at drwernerandrade.com. Just put in your website browser there, Dr. Werner, WERNER, Andrade, ANDRADE.com, drwernerandrade.com. And I'm going to ask Dr. Andrade a little bit about his hospital affiliations in a minute, but I kind of wanted to let everyone know why I wanted to start out with bariatric surgery, because obesity is an epidemic, and we are going to talk about a little bit about general surgery a little later on in the broadcast, because Dr. Andrade is a general and bariatric surgeon here in South Florida as well. Dr. Andrade, we've had you on a few times, and I'm always amazed. I always say this on the air about how fast the medical field is moving in terms of treatments. We talked to you a couple years ago, and there were different treatment options, and I know today you are, and correct me if I'm wrong and tell us a little bit, but you're mostly focused on what they call gastric sleeve and gastric bypass. Is that correct?
Exactly. First, I got to say that I'm very honored to be the director of bariatric surgery at Hialeah Hospital. And now I'm going to start doing also weight loss surgery at North Shore Hospital. My area, I have three areas of specialty. Number one is endoscopic surgery. The second one is general advanced laparoscopic surgery. And my third area of specialty is weight loss surgery. As a bariatric surgeon, that means a weight loss surgeon, I do several types of weight loss surgery procedures. Number one, the lap band. Number two, the laparoscopic sleeve gastrectomy. The number three will be the gastric bypass. And I also do the endoscopic balloon, in this case, the endoscopic balloons, and also revisional bariatric surgery. In that 10% of the patients in which the weight loss surgery doesn't work, you can always switch to another surgery. For example, you can switch a lap band to a sleeve gastrectomy or a sleeve gastrectomy to a gastric bypass. And that's called revisional bariatric surgery. It's a little bit more demanding, but I do that too.
Oh, that's great to know. So, yeah, there's actually steps in the process. Maybe if one customized step doesn't work, there may be another option down the road. It's not just one surgery and then the one chance, I should say. Is that kind of what you're alluding to there?
Yeah, and you're totally right. This is the way, and this is my personal way that I do the weight loss surgery. The weight loss surgery, there is not a rule for everybody. I try to customize the surgery for my patients. For example, if I have a patient with a low BMI, let's say between 30 and 40, and they want the balloon, yeah, of course, I would gladly do the balloon. But when I have patients with a BMI from 35 to up to 50, 55, I tend to recommend more the sleeve because the sleeve is a little bit safer and less demanding than the gastric bypass. But also, you have to remember that for patients with severe acid reflux, and I'm saying severe acid reflux, that are taking antacids and still have the reflux, the sleeve gastrectomy is contraindicated. So, for patients with a very large BMI, let's say more than 50 or 55, or that they have severe reflux, I tend to recommend more the gastric bypass because the gastric bypass will cure the reflux and make them lose most of the weight.
I see. And then what is the weight range of lost weight we're talking here? Can it exceed 100? Is it normally between 50 and 100? Have you seen higher than that?
It's mainly percentage. For example, with a lap band, the expectation is that you don't lose that much weight. You lose approximately 30 to 40% of the excess weight that you have. With a sleeve, you can lose about 60 to 70 of that excess weight. And with the bypass, you can lose about 80 to 90% of the excess weight that you have. So as you can see, the sleeve gives you results as close as the bypass without the risk of the gastric bypass.
I see. And we're here with Dr. Werner Andrade. He's a general and bariatric surgeon on staff at Hialeah Hospital in South Florida. Everyone familiar with, we've had a lot of doctors call in from Hialeah Hospital. It's a great hospital in the Miami area. And then also in Miami, he just told us he's medical director of bariatric surgery at North Shore Medical Center. And everyone knows we've had a lot of guests in studio from North Shore Medical Center in Miami, as well as call-ins. So congratulations on that. That's new news.
No, and actually, and the latest news is this. I got to tell you that I'm very glad to say that most of my practice is robotic surgery right now. Robotic surgery is the latest in technology. And there's studies that have proven that the recovery is faster with less pain. So I'm very glad to tell you that most of my bariatric surgeries right now are robotically performed. They are robotic assisted surgeries, the same as my general surgery cases. In this case, my gallbladder surgeries, my hernia surgeries, and most of my general surgeries are performed with the robotic assisted platform.
Dr. Andrade, hold that thought. I want to ask you a little bit about robotic surgery, but we're going to take a quick commercial break on the How to Stay Healthy show.
Okay.
All County Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096.
And now back to How to Stay Healthy, your weekly doctor's interview and prescription to better health. And we're back on the How to Stay Healthy show with Dr. Werner Andrade, general and bariatric surgeon here in South Florida with Tenet Florida Physician Services, and also on staff at Hialeah Hospital, where he's the director of bariatric surgery, and then also North Shore Medical Center, where he is the medical director also. I should say medical director for both hospitals of bariatric surgery. Dr. Andrade, before the break, we were talking a little bit about robotic, and we've actually had doctors on this program from all different medical specialties talking about robotics, and I'm happy to let everyone know that you do robotic surgery. And tell us a little bit about why it's so effective in terms of being minimally invasive for these types of surgeries.
So the robotic surgery is the latest in technology. Robotic surgery allows a surgeon to do some degree of movements that you cannot achieve with open or laparoscopic surgery. And because the arms of the robot move less, that causes less pain for the patient and a faster recovery. But I want to clarify to all your audience that it's so big, because your program is amazing, that that robotic surgery is not that the robot performs the surgery. It's more called telesurgery. There is a robot next to the patient, and I am in a console few feet from the patient. And what the robot does is that imitates the movements that I do in this console. Another advantage that has robotic surgery is that it gives me a 3D view of the surgical field. So those are the main advantage of robotic surgery. And there are very, very few bariatric surgeons who perform robotic bariatric surgery, and I'm very pleased to be one of them.
That's great news for South Florida as well. And thank you for explaining that, because we always mention it, and we don't really have a doctor explain it. So that was very smart on your part. I really appreciate that. I wanted to ask you, because people listening to the program are going to say, David, Dr. Andrade was great, but how long is it going to take recovery wise from a bariatric surgery? Am I going to be out of work? I mean, is it going to change my whole life? I mean, I really need it, but I need to think about it. But how long does it take recovery?
After the surgery, the patients are my guests in the hospital for about 2 or 3 days. Also, it depends on the patient. The patient can easily go back to normal activities at 1 week. But I usually give 2 weeks of rest to my patients who work in light duties. For example, if you work in an office or you don't have to lift heavy weights, the patients can easily go back to work at 2 weeks. But if I have a patient that works in construction that needs to lift heavy, like relatively heavy weights, I send them back to work at 1 month. But the patient can always go back to work on light duties at any time. But for sure, the patient is not allowed to lift more than 20 pounds for 1 month after the surgery. And the reason is because you're trying to prevent any incisional hernia from lifting heavy weights.
I see. Now, Dr. Andrade, we have some breaking news on the program this evening that I just received. You're actually doing a lecture at one of the hospitals you're on staff at where anyone can come and ask any questions they have about this after your lecture. Tell us a little bit about it. Do I have it right? It's 7 p.m. May 29th at North Shore Medical Center. And if you'll just confirm that, I'll grab the address right here while you're talking.
Yes, it's confirmed. It will be on May the 29th at North Shore Hospital at 7 p.m.
Okay, 7 p.m. And tell us a little bit about how, is it a Q&A? Do you give a presentation first? What will people expect if they take the time? And, of course, the main question, the most important question, is it free?
Yes. And actually, I have to tell you, as I told you, I'm very honored to work for Hialeah and North Shore Hospital. In Hialeah Hospital, I offer a weight loss seminar the second Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m., English and Spanish. And now I'm very honored to work at North Shore Hospital. We're going to do our first seminar on May the 29th at 7 p.m. All these seminars are completely free. And this is what I recommend. Every time a person says weight loss surgery, just to hear the word surgery can cause anxiety. Anxiety is defined as the fear to the unknown. And I have always believed that the best way to combat anxiety is by educating yourself. So that's the reason I invite all the people who are overweight, who have diabetes, and they are considering weight loss surgery to assist to these seminars. Not because I'm trying to convince them to have the surgery, but to educate themselves about ways of treating the obesity. So what I do is I provide like about approximately 30 minutes of education, teaching the patients about obesity, the diseases associated with obesity, and then I conclude with the different types of weight loss surgery, the risks and the benefits, so the patient can make an informed consent. And then after that, there is a time for questions and answers.
Yeah, I was going to say the Q&A has got to be a very interesting part of it. I'm sure you get all types of questions because, people want to, like you said, educate themselves or maybe a family member or friend or relative, someone they care about, to let them know a little bit more about, weight loss options.
Exactly. And if you have someone that you think that will benefit from weight loss surgery, you can invite it. Everybody is invited to these seminars. And we offer some materials and some little gifts occasionally too.
So everybody get your pen and paper out, or if you want to come back to this show, you can find it on allcountyhealthcare.com under the radio shows tab, or on Facebook Live, Facebook regular. Just type in All County Health Care INC, like incorporated, and you'll be able to get this radio show on and take a look and maybe jot down this information. But Dr. Andrade is going to be giving, Dr. Werner Andrade is going to be giving a weight loss seminar at North Shore Medical Center on May 29th at 7 p.m. North Shore Medical Center's address is 1100 1100 Northwest 95th Street in Miami. It's right off of I-95. I've been there many times, easy to get in and out of. I think it's like a mile from I-95, if not that much. And then, Dr. Andrade, say it again. You're at Hialeah Hospital. Is it every other Wednesday doing the seminar as well?
The free seminar at Hialeah Hospital is the second Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m.
Okay, the second Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. at Hialeah Hospital.
Exactly. And and I also tell the patients a little bit about me. What I can tell you right now is that I speak both English and Spanish. And I was very blessed to be trained at Cleveland Clinic, Ohio, that at that point was the top third hospital in the whole United States. That's where I learned everything that is related to advanced and minimal invasive surgery. And also, I have a fellowship in weight loss surgery. It's not a general surgeon who decided to do weight loss surgery, but I have a fellowship, a subspecialty only dedicated to weight loss surgery.
Oh, that's so important. And thanks for pointing that out. And I just want to say, wow, that's the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. That's the one that everyone talks about.
Mm-hmm.
You were trained there.
Exactly, and I was very honored to learn from the top surgeons in the United States, and they not only taught me about surgical techniques, but how to treat the patient. That's the reason I paid a lot of emphasis in customer attention. You know, I think that is very, very important. If for some reason you don't feel comfortable with your prospective surgeon, or you don't think that you're receiving the best customer attention, I always put emphasis in customer attention. So I will be more than happy to give a second opinion if a patient wants to.
Well, Dr. Andrade, it's hard to believe we're out of time. I always welcome you back on the program. I'd love to have you back on in May as well, every month if I can. You're really knowledgeable and really easy to understand, so I do appreciate that.
You know, I got to say thank you very much for the opportunity, and I have to tell you that I do enjoy participating in your program. Congratulations for your outstanding radio show.
Thank you, and that's Dr. Werner Andrade, a general and bariatric surgeon, drwernerandrade.com, 305-691-0118. This last minute, I just want to thank All County Healthcare for sponsoring this show and give them a shout out and kudos. And they want to say thank you to everyone who joined them last Friday at the Food and Wine Fest on Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale. All County Healthcare partnered up with the American Lung Association and Dr. Keith Robinson, Medical Director of Fusion Health in Oakland Park, to educate everyone about COPD and respiratory illness. If you or a loved one has COPD or another respiratory illness, you can always call on Dr. Keith Robinson or All County Healthcare's lead respiratory therapist, Ed Salazar, at 1-888-717-7170. Thank you for listening, and good night, South Florida. For a prescription to better health from the top doctors in the medical fields of cardiology, neurology, orthopedics, sports medicine, and primary care, join us each week on the How to Stay Healthy show.
The opinions expressed on